This is Our Time, the main news at this hour. I'm Oleg Borisov in the studio. Hello. One person was killed as a result of an attack by the Russian Federation on the Sumy region. Russian troops carried out nearly 30 shellings of 20 settlements. 12 territorial communities came under fire, according to the regional military administration. The most shellings were recorded in the Sumy and Shastka districts. The enemy used artillery, mortars, FPV drones, UAVs, and guided aerial bombs. The Russian Federation attacked energy facilities in several regions of Ukraine. In particular, consumers in the Odessa region were left without power, according to Ukrenergo. As a result of the attack, fires broke out at energy infrastructure facilities. At present, they have been extinguished, according to the State Emergency Service of Ukraine. 2 private residential houses and an administrative building were also damaged. There were no fatalities or injuries. Last night, Russia carried out a combined strike on Ukraine's critical infrastructure facilities. The aggressor used 154 aerial attack assets for the strike. These included attack UAVs and ground-launched missiles. The main direction of the strike was Kremenchuk in the Poltava region. Odessa region and frontline territories were also attacked, according to the Ukrainian Air Force. According to preliminary data, air defense forces shot down or suppressed by electronic warfare 85 aerial targets, 83 drones, and 2 Iskander ballistic missiles. Ukrainian drones halted the operation of a Russian oil refining platform in the Caspian Sea. This was reported by the Security Service of Ukraine. The Filanovsky platform, which belongs to the company Lukoil Nizhny Volskhneft, was attacked. This is the first Ukrainian strike on Russia's oil infrastructure in the Caspian Sea. At least 4 hits on the facility have been recorded. Oil and gas production has been halted. The Filanovsky field is considered one of the largest in the Russian sector of the Caspian Sea. Its reserves are estimated at 129 million tons of oil and 30 billion cubic meters of gas.
The Security Service of Ukraine continues successful special operations against the Russian oil and gas sector, constantly expanding their reach. The explosion in the Caspian Sea is yet another reminder to Russia that all its enterprises working for the war effort are legitimate targets, no matter where they are located. Source: in the Security Service of Ukraine.
13,800 people remain in the active combat zone in Donetsk region. This was reported by the Donetsk Regional Military Administration. For example, in Kostiantynivka, almost 4,000 people currently live there. Over 300 residents were evacuated in the past week. There were no evacuations in Polkovsk. 1,250 civilians remain in the city. There are more than 12,000 children in the territory of Donetsk region controlled by Ukraine. In the 2 settlements where the forced evacuation of families with children is underway, 383 children live. In the past week, 38 minors were evacuated.
Free resettlement of Donetsk region residents to safer regions of Ukraine continues. In the past week, 38 evacuated residents of Donetsk region were resettled. These are all people who requested such resettlement assistance through the transit centers. Overall, in recent days, there has been a decrease in the number of people wishing to leave the Donetsk region. The daily load of both transit centers in Dnipropetrovsk and Kharkiv regions is about 100 people. From a statement by the Donetsk Regional Military Administration on Facebook.
Meanwhile, the 38th evacuation train from Donetsk region arrived in Rivne region. 12 internally displaced persons arrived in the regional center, including 7 people with limited mobility who require special care. This was reported by the State Emergency Service of Ukraine. At the platform, the evacuees were met by rescuers, medical staff, police, and volunteers. They made sure that the journey and the first moments in the new place were as comfortable as possible for people forced to leave their homes because of the war.
A warm welcome was organized for the displaced people. They were given hot meals, helped with their belongings, and provided with transportation for further travel. In addition, specialists from the State Emergency Services Psychological Support Team provided the necessary emotional support, since many of these people had gone through severe hardships. Rivne region continues to receive evacuation trains from frontline areas, providing displaced people with everything they need for safety and adaptation in their new location. From a statement by the State Emergency Service of Ukraine.
Meanwhile, the UN General Assembly adopted a resolution on strengthening international cooperation to minimize the consequences of the Chornobyl disaster, which was proposed by Ukraine. 97 countries supported the document. However, the United States, Russia, Belarus, and 5 other countries voted against it, citing ideological disagreements with the UN's wording. The resolution draws attention to the consequences of the accident and the need to assist affected communities. It also mentions the damage to the new confinement structure at the Chornobyl nuclear power plant in February 2025. The UN will use the Ukrainian transliteration of the name Chernobyl. The General Assembly has scheduled a special session for the 40th anniversary of the tragedy in April 2026. The lower house of the U.S. Congress has approved the National Defense Authorization Act for the year 2026. It allocates $900 billion for military spending. Among these, $400 million are designated for aid to Ukraine. 312 congressmen voted in favor of the bill, while 112 voted against. The document has now been sent to the Senate. It also includes improvements to conditions for American service members and their families, support for NATO, and the Baltic Security Initiative. In addition, the law prohibits reducing the American military presence in Europe below 76,000 personnel. The forecast from the Russian Ministry of Labor for 2026 to 2032 predicts a large-scale crisis in the labor market. The Russian Federation will require more than 12 million workers, which means an average of 1,700,000 per year. This was reported by the Ukrainian Foreign Intelligence Service. The Russian forecast is based on demographic realities, a shrinking share of young people, an aging population, and an increase in the number of retirees. Russia's Minister of Labor, Anton Kochikov, noted that there will be demand for blue-collar professions such as seamstresses, welders, and mechanics. However, as reported by the Ukrainian Foreign Intelligence Service, these measures cannot solve systemic problems, such as the impact of sanctions and low automation in production.
According to the agency's estimates, the number of such workers could increase by 135,000 to 226,000 people, depending on the industry. The government is trying to compensate for the shortage by focusing on vocational education and boosting productivity. However, these measures are not enough to overcome systemic problems, sanctions-related restrictions, technological backwardness, and low automation in production. The need to replace more than 12 million workers only confirms the long-term negative trend, from a statement by the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine.
China has launched a giant drone carrier for the first time. The unmanned aerial vehicle is called Qijia. It is capable of launching a swarm of drones, according to Bloomberg. The details of the mission have not been disclosed. Qijia is compared to an aircraft carrier because it can carry multiple drones and missiles. The device was first unveiled last year and can carry up to 6 tons. The drone has 8 hardpoints for mounting missiles and bombs. The internal compartment can hold more than 100 small drones. They are launched as a swarm to suppress air defense systems. Before being deployed to the troops, the device will undergo additional testing.
Subscribe to UATV English and stay updated on the most important events, top news from Ukraine and all over the world, in-depth analysis, exclusive reports and interviews, all on hand in our channel. Join our community of viewers and stay tuned.